Good morning, Rabbi Sai. L'ilui nishmas agud chodesh. Welcome to Mendy Brachfeld, straight from the safari in South Africa. L'ilui nishmas imirosi rusbas Mordechai. Today's shir is being sponsored by Shmuly Hecht in honor of David Zlatnik F200, Akiva Sulkowitz F94, Sherman F202, Shmuly Davidowitz B202, an official 8-man Daf Yomi committee. More from them in a bit. By Vlad Zakharov. Rav Beitzah, this guy is new here. He doesn't know that there's no talking now. He just came from the safari. His head is in the safari. No. Do me a favor. Shkoyach. Refuah Shlema for my grandmother. Nehama Bas Haika. Aliza and Avi Sherman and family on the 10th yahrzeit of our mother and grandmother Lili Nishmas Yelis Bas Avram Chana Sholom. Shabbos Kodesh Aleph Mar Cheshvan. By Nachman Mostofsky, Lili Nishmas, my mother, Etya Hinda Bas Harav Shlomo, on her 34th yahrzeit, and Mazel Tov to Netanel Mostofsky, who is finishing Mishnayos Seder Nizikin. And when Meseches Hashem be starting with MDY for Meseches Rosh Hashanah, Mazel Tov and welcome. Shmuly and Yiddish Schwartz, good one. A giant happy birthday, Mazel Tov, to the most incredible and awesome Chaim Leivi Gruner, along with a shout out to his wonderful Chavrusa Yosef Pekier. Now, we have more. Abba Rennert, in honor of Mendy Brachfeld, a close friend who encourages me to keep on Daffing with R Eli Shlita. Maybe because of this dedication, he will join as well. Wow. He keeps on bugging people to do it, but he himself not. And Beitzah Hashem, I'll get another raffle ticket. You get 2 raffle tickets, I think, for the second guy. No? Something. We have to figure it out. 6th, Aaron Hirsch, not Moshe Hirsch, Aaron Hirsch. In memory of the yahrzeit of my grandfather, Shlema ben Yaakov Yosef Zakharov Bracha. Rabbi, I received an incredible amount of unbelievable emails, and obviously we won't be able to read them all. I want to share with you this particular one that my chavrusa filmed me reading this while I was crying. I didn't know he was filming me, but I'm not going to show you that part. Let's talk about the Torah pyramid scheme. This is the Torah pyramid scheme. As you recall, David Zlatnik, what is he? F202, I think. David Zlatnik went to the siyum of Akiva Sulkowitz, which was Akiva's first siyum, and it was a beautiful siyum. And he thought outside of the box. He brought himself over 30 Gemaras, and he pushed the Olam to grab a Gemara and join Meseches Beitzah. So what is that, 35 days ago? And then he opened up a WhatsApp group for these guys, and it started with 3 guys, 35 days ago. Today, there are over 70, I saw it at 68, they told me there's over 70 people in the group. Yesterday somebody sent me a screenshot, 68 guys, let's call it. And Dovid is on top of them, and other guys knew, did you do the daf? We did the daf. All this group is about the daf. And about how it's changing people's lives. Let me read you this email. And this is David Zlatnik taking it in his own hands, coming up with his own idea, something that was out of his comfort zone. He told me he doesn't like doing this stuff, but he felt it was necessary. Hi, my name is Hill Boyer from Kensington in Brooklyn. As a teenager, I always wanted to do the daf. I tried many times, I failed after the second and third day. This past August, I was on vacation with my dear friend Akiva Sulkowitz F94. Now, whoever knows Akiva wouldn't believe that he's capable of doing such a thing. I saw him carrying the Archel Gemara wherever he was going. I asked him, since when was he doing the daf? He told me he started with Sukkah and he's hooked for life. He told me that I need to join the shir. Not too long after that, he scheduled his first siyum. Sukkah. I went that day to buy 2 Archel Gemaras, one for myself and one for Penny Peretz, who's also currently going strong. Keep up, Penny. I've been thinking about sending you an email, but I wanted to do it until I was hooked. The Gemara became the number 1 thing that I was always in my hand. I haven't missed a day. I've made it through all Yom Tovim without falling behind. I was in Orlando for Sukkot, preparing for the Chag. I made sure to leave myself some time to do the daf. After Sukkot, I drove to Miami for Shabbos. I like to listen to music usually. Well, I was doing the daf. Erev Shabbos in Miami. While the guys are at the pool, I was doing the daf. On the flight back from New York, doing the daf. The next morning, Kitzer, I'm honestly shocked that I've lasted this long, and even more shocked that I'm about to make my very first siyum at the age of 25. I've never in my life felt such a strong love for learning. It became part of my life, and it's totally natural now. This is after 35 days. I do not go to sleep without doing the daf. I love it and live it. It's that simple. You mentioned once that the Rebbe said, okay, fine. I've always had the love for Torah, but you were the one that helped me develop it. Your shir is the one of a kind. The charts are amazing. My life has been changed forever. I don't know how it's possible. I naturally became happier and more chilled out person. Thanks for helping me give my parents the nachas. You should see the video that Akiva sent me when his father, big long beard, was out to see him. First time that one of his sons made a siyum. The guy, you should have seen the emotion over there. Unbelievable. Hugging and kissing for minutes. They always knew that one day I'd come around and learn Gemara. Thank you for making it a pleasure and something I look forward to every morning when I wake up. Good morning. As of last night, 2 more of my friends have taken upon themselves to join me in Meseches Rosh Hashanah. I wanted to give a special shout out to Daf Yomi committee and all the Hatzol guys in the F and B. P.S. Okay, thank you to David Zlatnik, F200, not F202, F200, who I became very good friends with, and checks in. He told me, he left me a voice note, that not only did he accomplish all this with the learning, but his friendships with different people through this. He made new friends. And the achdus, he checks in with me every once in a while to make sure I'm still on board. David, I'm hooked for life. Thank you. Choking up. I plan on visiting in Israel and can't wait to come to a live shir. Sholom ran F202 started the trend. Attach some pictures of my Florida trip. And here he is, Rabbi Isai. Here's the tzaddik, Hillel Boyer. Schmack, a normal guy that Torah became part of his life. Here he is, Orlando, Miami, Bechulu. Okay, I think there's another one. Now, so that's the one that made me choke up. Here's a funny one. From the famous Yoeli Doppelt. Dear Belly. As you predicted, keeping up with the daf over the Yom Tovim was very challenging. This is a great email for an American. An English guy, an Israeli, might have some hard time here. Okay, and I'll tell you why, from the picture. Especially here in the US, midweek, 2-day Chagim, Shabbos, and back-to-back with no possible routine inside that sometimes felt like a convoluted mush of Erevs and Motzes with some days in between when I can't access YouTube for the shir. I fell behind multiple times. As someone dependent on routine, it threatened to crush my rhythm in learning the daf, in parentheses, Yomi. But I took your advice and kept trying to do that day's daf regardless of whether I finished the previous days or the day before that. What followed was a hot mess of skipped dafim, half a quarter amudim, which after I sketched it out on a paper, looks like a complex football play that was drawn out by an ambitious coach, diagram attached. It says like this, Daf Yomi holiday non-blitz play. Daf Chof Ches goes up to the top, Chof Tes to the bottom to the right. You could always depend on Yoeli. Your advice really saved me and what kept me committed. So what if I learned the maskana 2 days before the Havamina? So what if I saw a picture of the Yeshivish dog walker in the hat and jacket before the other Yeshivish guy with the shorts and the white socks? And saw the shir with your kittel the same day as the shir with your sukkah? So what if I knew the ending of the story, spoiler alert, of the $2,000 Erev Yom Kippur Tzedakah collection? When asked by one of my children, who was a mild case of Osher Chaim Davidowitz syndrome, aka OCD, how can you possibly learn like that? My reply was, every word is a precious mitzvah, and that it's not about the daf, it's about the yo. Yosher Koyach Yoel HaLevi Doppel. Gewaldig. All right, I'm serious. I have a pile here. 701 days counting. Mazel tov. I made it. You know, I said this, that the day after I said Kaddish for 11 months, and every day I had to come to shul before everybody chapped on. Here are all these unbelievable. Some of these are mamish, tear jerkers, and gewaldige stuff. Here, Lamashal. Here, bring that over here. Bring that. Come here. Shimshi Weiss, get over here. I have one to read for you because of that. Hold on. Show what you have here. Shkoyach Shimshi Weiss. Shkoyach. Thanks. I see.
Do we have
now listen to this.
Also?
Yeah, gewaldig. Listen to this. Mark Rottenstein, Mazel Tov. You are just 1,932 behind Cal Ripken. Continue in good health. Mark Rottenstein, Brooklyn, New York. Now, we learn about to be mechalik in the sugyas. We have Shabbos, Yontif. How you mechalik between this and that? No, you're a lamdim, Mark. What is the nafkamina between Eli Stefansky and Cal Ripken?
Cal Ripken got divorced.
Cal Ripken didn't have the streak in a row. He had many, many days. He had vacations. He had 6 months to go 700. Let him come and say his share 700 days straight with Yom Kippur, with Shabbos, and with Tisha B'Av. Big talk. It's nothing. What he done? Okay, fine. We got to be a lamda, my friend. Now, real quickly, we're going to do something very, very interesting here. I first want to read. By the way, we have right now. We're not going to learn today. We're going to learn Meseches Rosh Hashanah today. There are 650 new guys joining this year, so you all have to be on your best behavior the first day. 650. Just yesterday alone is like over 100, 120 something. So I want to call out some of the guys here from the show. A lot of them are in this room. Yitzchak Weiss, Yuda Wolf, Yehuda Hammerman, Moshe Hamburg. He's here? Moshe, who do you bring? Meir Salomon. Okay. Daron Kornblut, sitting right next to him. Who did you bring?
Agreed to skip today so we can both get more next week.
Doesn't work. No? Who do you have?
Yosef Richards.
From where?
From my street.
Rabbi Yosef Richards. Shalom Aleichem. Meir Balel. Avi Berger. Menachem Weinrib. Evan Hendel. Nissen Duek. Perry Moses. Peretz Rappaport. Are any of these guys here? Who's Peretz Rappaport? Not your kid? Kupperman family. Daniel Dax. Israel Weisberg. Marg Siegelnick. Gavriel Badalov. Peretz Chaim Levin. Wait a minute, I saw Akiva's name. Akiva Solway. Here we go. Akiva Solway, you see? Who did you bring, Akiva? Your grandfather. Wow. What did grandfather do so that his grandchild just should get that special edition?
You can come and have supper in my house.
Akiva, come here. I don't know if Doilam knows what you look like. Come here, Akiva, a second. Get over here. Pinchas Miles. Yossi Shasha. And Avi Berger. Shkoyach. Thanks for bringing your grandfather. Must have been tough, no? And 2 of your cousins?
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with the raffle? If you win the raffle, what are you going to do? You're going to hang out with Nachman Seltzer? Or are you going to take the $5,000 in cash?
Come to the seminary.
$5,000 in cash. You're going to run a seminary for 4 days. Trade in all the other days. Okay, Rabbi Isai, does anybody in this room have a smartphone? Anybody have a smartphone? Raise your hand. Okay, Rabbi Isai, do this with me. Please entertain me for a second. Where's my smartphone? Here we go. You ready? Take out your smartphone. Where's your smartphone? Rabbi Isai, we're going to do this together. Check this out. We're all going to go right now. Seriously. Take out your phones. Take out your phone. I don't see your phone. All of a sudden, during the share, everybody's like this. Now, listen. What is wrong with you guys? With 1 minute of your time, you're going to be Zoichel Olam Haba. You're going to be part of this Torah pyramid. We're going to go to, listen to this. Everybody, you guys watching also. MDY status.com. Do it. Don't look at me. I see you know I'm staring at me and should I do it and I blow up my phone? Press go. You know what happens? Do it. And it says, should you open this page on WhatsApp? And you click open. Now, all of a sudden, it gives you a message here. You just press send. Okay? I did MDY status, and I got this from phone number 972-53786-0586. No, that doesn't make sense. Okay, anyways, I press it. And you wait 10 seconds. Look what's going to happen here. It's not going to work because it's live now. Didn't work. It's the wrong number. It did?
I didn't need the Daf Yomi status. I got it. You have to save it.
No, it worked before. Here we go. Okay. You get all these things here. Yeah, free Gemara raffle. You get 3 things: a video and this. Now you take this and you push forward. What? You know why? Because we're all pressing at the same time. Maybe we confuse the robot. Okay, just do it. And then you press forward. And by the way, I'm from the generation, I didn't even know what status was. Like this, you could bring, I did this, within 2 minutes somebody signed up to the share. Within 2 minutes. And then afterwards, throughout the day. Do this. You take that video.
You just gotta keep his grandfather sign up.
Look at this. You go all the way on the top, it says my status. You click on that, and you just press forward. Boom. That video, whatever you have, goes into your status. And the young guys know how to use it. It goes onto their phone, they press on the thing, and they sign up. That's all you have to do. Takes 1 minute, Rabbi Isai. You know how to do it? Mendy, come here, repeat. We don't talk about this. Fine, let's go. Rabbi Isai, we have a lot to learn here. This is Yossi Hirsch and Rabbi Salomon at the Chasana. We have guys like this also watching this year, by the way. It's not just that solo guys. What? Next, what? What did you say? No. 3 things come up. It tells you how to do it. It gives you a message how to do it. Okay, Rabbi said today's Daf Lamed Zayin. Amazing sugya. This is what we learned yesterday. No, that's the chafina that you do with your head, with your mouth. All right. Yesterday in the Mishnah, we'll just go over this real quickly. We're going to go through the whole Mishnah in the Gemara. So don't worry if you didn't get the Mishnah yesterday. We're going over it right now. Okay. There are 3 categories in the Mishnah. Shvus means the Issa D'Rabbanan. Rishus means a little bit of a mitzvah, and mitzvah means a lot of a mitzvah. You can mute them. Send them to Nachman Mostofsky. He deals with those stalkers.
One of my students told me someone was stalking him.
Great.
Yeah.
She's like,
don't tell my wife. Whatever you do, don't. She'll make me quit the shir. All right. In the category Shvus of Issa D'Rabbanan, the Mishnah says you can't do these 4 things on Shabbos because this is the Rabbanan. Climbing up a tree, riding an animal, swimming, and clapping your hands. Metapchim, I didn't have room for it, I just took it off. Clapping your hands, dancing, patching your lap. Rishos, semi-mitzvah, doing a dentaira, being mekadosh a woman, doing chalitza, doing yibum, we'll discuss it in the Gemara. A full mitzvah is creating hegdish, saying this goes to the Beis HaMikdash, erechin, erki olai, my value, his value, whatever that is, 50 shekel goes to the Beis HaMikdash, cherem, same idea, I say this thing should be cherem, it goes to the Beis HaMikdash. And finally, to be mafresh trumas ha'maisros, which is a mitzvah, all asar on Shabbos, all asar on Shabbos, all asar on Shabbos. Says the Gemara. We're holding by where it says Gemara, 10 lines from the bottom. Lo yoylim be'ilon gzeira shema yitloish. You cannot climb up a tree because you might be over issa d'oraisa right over here. If you climb up a tree, you might break off a branch, which is koitzer. Koitzer is issa d'oraisa. V'lo roichvim ala behema. You're not allowed to ride an animal on Shabbos, on Yontif as well. Gzeira shema yetze chutz l'tchum. You're riding a fast animal, you might miss the markers. You might go too quick, you won't see it, you're high up. So you'll come out of the tchum, which we're going to be discussing at length today. By the way, this daf is so jam-packed with musagim and halachas, it's unbelievable. Things that many of us are very familiar. If you're new to the daf, you just go through one thing to another. Every line is another halacha. Shmamina, Sulkowitz, it's a big problem. Tchumim d'oraisa. Oh, you're not allowed to do this because of a gzeira. We only do a gzeira in a d'oraisa, not a d'rabbanan like that. You're not going to make a gzeira to a d'rabbanan, a gzeira l'gzeira. We have a big machlokes in Shas. Rabbi Akiva holds tchum is d'oraisa, but everybody else basically holds tchum is d'rabbanan. From here it seemed like a yachid. Says going on, you're right. El gzeira shamayachti zmoira. The problem of riding an animal is the same problem as climbing a tree. You need to whack that animal sometimes, and you're going to cut a branch off, and that is koitzer is d'oraisa. And you cannot swim on the water. Why? Maybe you'll make a flotation device, so it'll help you swim. I'm not exactly sure if this is what Rashi meant, or maybe something a little smaller, like what we have, like a tube or something, some sort of barrel to help you swim. Okay, the idea is the same. V'loi metapchim, v'loi misapkin, v'loi miragdin. On Shabbos, on Yontif, you're not allowed to clap your hands, not in shul, not at the Shabbos table, you can't bang on the table and drum, you can't whack your leg, and you can't dance. Gzeira, Shema Yisakin Klishir, because perhaps you might come to fix an instrument. Now, as we had the sugi before, if you dafago, to be melamed schus on the people that do clap, do drum on Shabbos, you're not supposed to tell them, it's better, you shoygigim value mezidin. There's a taisus on that daf that says that our days, we don't have instruments like this, we don't know how to fix, we don't fix, so maybe it's not exaggerate. The question is, everything that we have today doesn't apply. We're not going to make fires just because you're driving a car, so drive a car. The answer is, we don't take off these gzeiros. So why all of a sudden this taisus took off? So Rav Moshe Feinstein came up with a wild pshat that Klal Yisrael never accepted it. There was always guys that were breaking the rules. They were dancing, b'vislavas, and memela. It's a gzeira that wasn't received by Klal Yisrael. So since it doesn't apply anymore with taisus svara, so memela, the two things combined, great. But Shulchan Aruch doesn't bring down taisus, doesn't bring down Rav Moshe Feinstein, and Shulchan Aruch says it's us to do today. One of my good friends left me a voice note. He's very Hasidish. And he said that I want to be melamed zchus on myself and all my friends in shul, all my Hasidish friends. We clap a lot. And I know that Hasidim, they understand this. I'm Litvish. I don't understand what he was saying. To me, it was like Chinese. He said that we do it out of Islavos. What the Gemara means to say is if a guy's a professional and he's doing percussion and this and that. But his lashon was, we can't control ourselves. Our neshama, he said, is asking us to do it. We're doing it b'islavas. So I wrote him back, and if your neshama wants you to jump in a car and drive b'islavas to get to shul, that makes him mutter. He's like, I hear. But anyway, I don't understand. I know that I have my Hasidic friends always say these things. It's b'islavas, and that's not what it is. Fine. I'm making a point. Do what you want to do. The Ramah says, not as halacha, but as there are some that are making like that, and he brings the taisus, yes. But not that he passes like that. He's pointing out why people might be doing it. I also told him, I said, you don't have to come onto this slavas. Taisus says it. And he says, you're right, yeah. Okay, next. You cannot go to a bezdin on Shabbos and Yontif. Ask the Gemara of a mitzvah kovid. This is a mitzvah. How do I know it's a mitzvah? It says in the pasuk, "V'shaftu sa'am mishpat tzedek v'shaftu." You have to judge people. It's a mitzvah to judge. Says the Gemara, there's a greater Rav than him, and it's not. The mitzvah is not in him. The mitzvah is with the Rav that's greater than him. So in Mela, nobody should do it. There's always somebody. There's always something. Don't do it. V'loy mikachin. You shouldn't do kiddushin. You shouldn't marry a woman. Do kiddushin. Mitzvah kovid. This week's parasha. We had last week's parasha, Pruruvu. This week's parasha was more of a bracha. Not so much the mitzvah, but it's in the parasha. The idea of Pruruvu. So, Leitzricha, this lay isho banim. So Rashi brings down that the chiyuv is to have a boy and a girl, according to Bissel. And if you have that already, there's a little bit of a mitzvah to keep on going. So there's a whole thing here. If he doesn't have a wife, according to Rashi, it would be also to be Mekadosh a woman on Shabbos. According to Tosfos, you would be allowed to be Mekadosh a woman on Shabbos. Okay. But I heard a very interesting story, to say the least. Rabbi Eliezer Tauber, he said that he was by a Rosh Hashiva or a big gadol that just lost his wife, and he was that chash of a person, gadol b'Yisrael, he said, he called him gadol b'Yisrael, was sitting shiva, and during his shiva he said, "No, do you have a shidduch for me?" In other words, it's a mitzvah not to be alone, to have. I know it sounds wild and crazy, but this idea of maybe I should do it on Shabbos, should be Mekadosh. No, so even though so that's the shayla. What if he doesn't have, or you just say, okay, since he has, and since fine, Erusin, yeah, not nesun. Loi chaltzin v'loi miyaben. So chalitza. What is chalitza? If a person loyalenu dies without children, there's a guy in the shir wrote in a bunch of emails, slightly related to him. he had to go through this process. His brother was nifter at a very young age, and he was the yavam. So if a brother dies without children, you have to be miyavim the wife. You have to marry the almana, and in order that he should have a continuation. And if she doesn't want, you do chalitza. She removes the shoe, she spits, the whole thing. It's a whole process, special shoe. He went through it, unfortunately. You don't do this on Shabbos. And you don't marry her. Mitzvah kavod. It's a mefurish pasuk. It's a whole parish. Well, it's the real mitzvah or the better mitzvah. So here's the picture of Yoni if you want to know what it looks like. Couple's married, he dies, she's alive, the next brother steps in and marries her. So the pasuk says over here, and Rashi brings the pasuk, V'hoya habechar, meaning the older, the Gemara Darshan, that's not the simple meaning, but the Gemara Darshan, the oldest brother should be the one performing the mitzvah yibum. And we have the same idea, you don't have the mitzvah, so it's not a big chiyuv, it's only a minor chiyuv. And what's wrong with all this? Gzeira Shema Yichtayv. That goes on all four of these. A din Torah, you're going to write out the psak. Kiddushin, one of the ways to be mekadosh a woman is with the shtar. Chalitza, you got to write it out. Yibum, you have to write a ksuba. So all these have to do with writing. Do not do it on Shabbos and Yontif. Ve'eluhem mishum mitzvah, loy ma'agdishin, ve'loy ma'arichin, ve'loy ma'achrimim. Gzeira mishum mekach umemkar. Says in the pasuk, Im tashem Shabbos raglecha asayis chavatzecha b'yom kachi. We say it, and some of us say it on Shabbos. V'karosel Shabbos oineg ligdosh Hashem mechuba v'chibatim asayis rachecha. You should give honor to Shabbos, not doing what you usually do. Don't do what you do. Mimtzoi chefzecha, from doing whatever your needs. V'daber davar. V'daber davar. So, l'mashal, let's say you own a car leasing company, and a guy comes over to you and says, how much is that new Maybach GLS 600? So the says Nishavas Gred. It's not a joke. If you say the price, and you really think, tell them 160 grand. By the way, this is what they're driving these days in New York. 160 grand. Beautiful car. It's a Mercedes SUV. Gorgeous. But the Olam needs it, and it's mamish. It's together because I could get more guys to come to the daf, so maybe it's mutter to talk about it on Shabbos. Isur gomer, Isur deraisa, or inavi. V'daber davar. You're not allowed to talk about it, and it doesn't help the joke. The Shabbos Gered. Oh, the Shabbos Gered, it's sold. It doesn't help. It's an Isur. People think it's a little bit of a chumrah. No, it's a pasuk. So mainly you're not allowed to do mekach umemkar. If what?
It's that money called challah.
160,000 dollars.
160,000 challahs. I think it's better to talk about the daf. So if you're not allowed to do mekach umemkar, you're not allowed to do business on Shabbos. And memela, going from one rishus to the other, taking food that belongs to me and giving to the Beis Hamikdash, it goes from one. So even that, forget about a car. I want to sell you something. Even to donate something to Beis Hamikdash, it's asur. You're not allowed to be mafresh in order to eat fruit. The guys in America and in Chutz, in England, South Africa, they're not familiar with this stuff. You can't just grab an apple out of a ShopRite and eat it in Eretz Yisrael. You have to make sure that somebody took a part of it out and gave it to the Kohen and the Levi. Truma and Meiser. Pshita, Rav Yosef, of course you can't. Why? There's a number of reasons. But the main one that we know of is that it's misakim mana. This apple is usher to eat. When I chop a little piece off of it and I say to the Kohen, to the Levi, now I could eat it. I just fixed this kli. I just fixed this pre. So it's avad, it's usher. Why is it usher? I said misakim mana. It's probably the wrong way to say it. Nira misakim mana. It looks as if he's fixing something. He didn't fix anything. The apple is the same color, same size. It looks as if he fixed it. Before he couldn't eat it, now he could eat it. But what if it doesn't look like he fixed it? Because all he was trying to do is help the Kayan sustain himself on Yontif, give him Simchas Yontif, go over to him with a basket of fruit. Nobody thinks, oh, he took Trumas and Meisers. People think, oh, he's a nice guy. He's giving food to a Kayan. Nevertheless, it's awesome. This is when it was also for you to eat already from Erev Yontif and Erev Shabbos. But what if it just became also right now? How does something become also right now? If you make dough, or we had another case, even with wheat, I can make it usr. You guys remember? We had a sugya. How does wheat become usr now on Shabbos? Because before I thought I was going to grind it, and then I said no, I'm going to eat it melilos. I'm going to eat it like a snack. It just became usr right now. I'm allowed to make dough on Shabbos, on Yontif. Why? Because I need fresh bread. So then I could be mafresh Trumas and Meisres. Rabbanan didn't say it's usher to do. They only said when you could do it beforehand. Don't do something you could do before Yontif on Yontif. Ask the Gemara. Look at this list. Shvus means Issa Rabbanan. Rishus, semi-mitzvah, going to the entire. Mitzvah, massive mitzvah. To be what? Going to the entire is not a little bit of an Issa Rabbanan. It is Issa Rabbanan. We just said in the Mishnah, it's usher to do. Usher to do. All these things. 4 here, 4 here. So they should all be called Shvus. Says Gemara, no. We kind of explained it. That's why we don't understand the kasha so much. The center column is only a semi-mitzvah, not a Issa D'Rabbanan. Right? So even the word Shvus, a lot of people didn't even know what Shvus. In Yeshiva, I don't think we ever mentioned that word. It wasn't past Daf Ches, that word, or Daf Vav, in Chavetz Chaim, Daf Beis. That word Shvus didn't exist. So now, Shvus means a Isser D'Rabbanan. Mishum mitzvah eka, mishum Shvus leka. This category is only a mitzvah and you can't do it on Yontif, but it's not an Isser D'Rabbanan. It is Isser D'Rabbanan. No, of course. This category is only Isser D'Rabbanan. It keeps on going. Even if it's semi-mitzvah, something, it's a little bit of a mitzvah. You should be able to go to the entire on Shabbos. Kamashmal, you can't. And not only the center category, but even it's a huge mitzvah, donating a lot of stuff to the Beis Hamikdash. Be ma'avish Trumas and Meisres. Shvus was the mitzvah, but since it has a little bit of shvus, it's also the Rabbanon. Nami also. Says the Gemara, it says in the Mishnah, Kolelu b'yontiv amru, and what's the final sentence in the Mishnah? The famous line. Ein ben yontiv l'Shabbos ela oichel nefesh bovad. What is the difference between Shabbos and Yontiv? The only difference is cooking. You're allowed to cook. Ask the Gemara, what about this case, the famous case, that I'm allowed to save my fruit? That's not cooking. That's saving a monetary loss, which on Yontiv I can do it, and on Shabbos I cannot do it. So here's another nafkamin. Why are you telling me only oichel nefesh? Here, saving money, saving something is also. Our Mishnah is going according to Eliezer that holds I am not going to be makel when it comes to saving money. Monetary loss. Refuah says, I will save money. I could be mechalul yontif to save money. Where do we have the case? The San Yosef has been a shenanaf bar. Remember this case? I couldn't find the picture of 2 cows. So we had 2 elephants that fell in. How do you save them? Machloikis. You could take one, save one, anyone. You want the bigger one, take the bigger one out. The second one, you throw in some water, you give him some trees to eat, and he's good to go. Is just enough to sustain him that he shouldn't die. He's allowed to do trickery. First, you take out the baby, you say, I want veal. Or take whatever you want. The point is, you take one, and you say, I want that one. And then you do a trickery. No, I decided I don't want a veal, I want a fatty steak, and you take out the second one. Why does he allow trickery? To prevent the monetary loss. So you see, the Refuah is of the opinion that for monetary loss, you let him mechal yontif. By the way, I'm telling you, I said this to Mark. This skill to differentiate between 2 similar things is a tremendous skill in learning, but it's also a skill in business. I felt that I was able to outdo, sometimes in business, in a meeting, to be able to make a slight nafkamina between two things. Guys say that's the same thing. It's not the same thing. And point out why it's not the same thing, why the price should be different, why this, why that. It's a skill. It doesn't come naturally, but the Gemara trains us all the time. By the way, I noticed that Abaya recently was doing it, and I looked up, I found a bunch of times in Beitzah more than the rest of Shas. It was Abaya. Oh, Abaya, Memai. What's the connection? When it comes to two, I should point out also this halacha. A mother and a son cannot be shechted in one day. It's a deraisa to shecht the two of them. So you can only shecht one or the other. So you can only save one, really, because you're only going to shecht one. So the other one is muktzah to you. So that's why you do the trick. I forgot to mention that. That's why you do the trick. No, I want to shecht this one. Oh, no, I made up my mind. I want to shecht that one. That's why you do the trick. Anyway, another halach. I'm just saying this daf is full of halachas and yesodus. Says Abaya, what's the connection between saving your fruit on a roof and saving an animal in a pit? They're very different. No, what's the difference? What would you think the difference is? So he says, you don't have to, your elephant is not going to die. Throw some water and then he'll live. But over here, on the rooftop, if you don't save all your fruit, whatever is left on the roof is going to get ruined in the rain. So maybe I could save it all. Inami, or another pshat. When it comes to two elephants or two cows, I can do trickery. I can say, oh, I want this steak. No, I want that steak. But with a bunch of grapes, how are you going to do trick? Oh, I want this grape, not that grape. They're all the same. New pshat. What's the difference between this case of the fruit saving fruit and our Mishnah which says you cannot save monetary loss? Only the only difference between Yom Tov and Shabbos is oichel nefesh bilvad. We learned it in the beginning of Meseches Daf Beis. You cannot carry on Yom Tov, according to Bishamai, a lulav, and as we're going to save a Torah and a kid in Rosh Hashanah. But we still matirim, even though it's not necessary so much for Yom Tov. So Memela, that Beisil is also going to say that you're allowed to save your fruit and move it into the skylight. Says the Gemara, again, let's differentiate. The Isser to take out from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah is the Isser the Oiraisa. But Muktzah is only Isser the Rabbanon. Says the Gemara, not a good differentiation. Nice try. The only reason why there is a concept of Muktzah is because of the Gzeira that you might come to do Eitzah. So it's one and the same, and Memela, there's no way to differentiate the two. The official Mishnah, sponsored by official Refuah Shlema, from Yosef ben Chana. So now, until then, the Masechta really, this is the last parak, right? We only have 4 days left. We're going to be discussing a lot about Tchum. Tchum. So what's the... Here's Hegdish. You point at something, say it's Hegdish. What? Oh, the Siyum. Wow. Sign up for the Siyum and Rabbi Sai. Unfortunately, I didn't have time even to read those emails. There's beautiful Siyum everywhere. In London, I know Ari Davis put up new projectors for the Siyum, new things everywhere. Chicago is even going to have a big Siyum. In Lakewood, Aaron Hirsch, running the Siyum there, brought in Rabbi Hissiger, the guy that interviewed me from Art Scroll. So he's going to be their guest. Fine. What, over here we have a big Siyum at Stefansky's house. Big barbecue, big kumzitz. Which one is what? Okay. No women this time. Okay. So, I don't know if this is the right one, but this is Tchum. Tchum is that on Shabbos, you could only go 2,000 amma from the end of your house or the end of the city, whichever one comes last. If you live in a city, so from the city limits, you have 2,000 ammas in each direction. Total of 4,000 ammas. Now, if you establish your residence, you say, this is not my house. My house is going to be somewhere else. Where? Where I place a meal, where I place a piece of bread. So now you just shifted your residence. So now your residence became where this challah is, and you have 2,000 ammas in each direction from the challah. But it ends right over here. That means you cannot step 1 foot in this direction, but you could step 2,000 amma in that direction. Because your residence just shifted. It went from here, instead of being the house, it went to the challah. That's a tchum. Says the Gemara, beautifully, the Mishnah. Okay, right here. If I own anything, I own an animal, I own a kli, I own whatever it is, it can only walk and go and be carried only as far as I, the owner, am allowed and permitted. So, check this out. I live in this house. I'm allowed to go 2,000 amma this way. He lives in this house. We're both from different chasidus, you can tell, from the hats and everything. He's a shtickle conservative chassid. Okay, he has a shtickle small talus, and it's a very interesting picture. Huh? With a talus. A small little shawl talus that he got on the hook when he walked into the shield. Yeah, in the shield, yeah. So here's his house. He can go 2,000 amma this way. So his goat could only go up until this point. It happens to be that they share 1,000 amma that they could meet. It overlaps 1,000 amma. You see? In this red, this guy could walk up to this line. This guy could walk up to here. His 2,000 amma finishes over here. And this guy's 2,000 amma finishes over here. So in this 1,000 amma, they could both schmooze and carry. The problem is that he cannot take this guy's goat and bring it back to his house. Because his goat is no better than him. Since he stops short over here, so his goat also stops short over there. That's the pshat that habehema va'akelim kiragli about. Hamois ben to live in oil. What? Yontif, this, okay, yeah, Shabbos, move it. So, even if there's Eruv, he's still Tchum. You give your animal to the shepherd, to the babysitter, to your son, on Yontif. Again, it doesn't go by the shepherd where his Tchum is, it goes by the owner's Tchum. Because it happened on Yontif, it didn't happen Erev Yontif. So when Yontif came in, the animal, we look at the animal. Who's your owner today? This guy? Okay, so you go with his tchum. If it's the shepherd, then it goes by the shepherd. But since he gave it over on Yontif, it's too late. Before the brothers divided the inheritance, the Yerusha, so they said this kli goes, for now, until we divide it, goes to him. You get to use this car, you get to use this kli. So, it goes by wherever his tchum is. Where's the chart? So, I think this is the chart. Meaning that if he made an Eruv and he could go this way, this guy could go this way, they could only move this within their limits, but then he cannot go one foot this way, and it can't go 1 foot this way. Because this goat, this kli, whatever it is limited to this brother, which is up to this point, so it can only go here. And this goat is limited to this brother, which is up to here. So this goat is stuck in this area. It cannot go. This brother can say, oh, but it wasn't divided yet, let me take it up to here. He can't go past the limit. The lowest of the two, correct. A borrower becomes an owner. So if I borrow your bowl on Erev Yantif, I become the owner now, and now it's Kiragli Hashayel, so it goes wherever my tchum is. No chiddush there. B'Yantif, but if I borrowed it from you on Yantif, Kiragli Hamashel. As Yantif came in, the tchum was over there. And a woman who borrows ingredients for her bread. Now the ingredients are in the bread, so you cannot move the bread because there's some salt in the bread that belongs to somebody else, and that limits the bread to the tchum of that someone else. Rabbi Yehuda says water dissolves, it evaporates. Says the Gemara. Mas nisin, the loiker b'doisa, wow, record.
0.
Sponsor Tehillim Group. For all those children for those issues, please join Tehillim.mindav.com. Sponsor in the time code Kushnud for his chus, for his children, Ayikolav and Yisrael Yaakov. They should do well in Yisrael and have cheshik Torah mitzvahs in Yerushalayim. If you buy an animal from your friend, even though he didn't give an animal only on Yontif, but the purchase happened before Yontif. So according to our Mishnah, it goes what? It goes by the purchaser because he purchased it, so he can take the animal wherever he could go on Yontif. This is the problem. If you give over your animal to a shepherd, even though he gave it over the Yontif, our Mishnah says if you give it over in Yontif, what's the halacha? We don't care about the shepherd. We care about the original owner. Over here it says, it goes by the shepherd. What's going on here? Do we care about the shepherd or do we not care about the shepherd? This all happened on Yontif, like our Mishnah. In the Mishnah it says, we disregard the shepherd because the transaction happened on Yontif. Says Gemara, not a kasha. If there's only one shepherd, so Memela, the only place everybody knows you're going to give it to this shepherd, so Memela goes by that shepherd. But our Mishnah has two shepherds, so we don't know where it's going. So Memela, it remains by the owner. There's umdina the muchach. I don't know I'm not going to shepherd my animal. You ever saw me take my cows out? No. So if I buy a cow, obviously I'm going to give it to the babysitter of the neighborhood. I'm going to give it to him. So Memela goes by his tchum. But if there's two, like in our Mishnah, we can't differentiate. And I'll prove it to you. Diktani livnoi or leroya shmamino. It says in the Mishnah to a son or to a shepherd. So Mela, it's showing you that there's two people involved there. There's two options. And Mela, I don't know where it's going, and that's why it goes by the owner's tchum and not by the shepherd. Says the Gemara, Umi Omar Rabbi Yochanan. Halach is tam Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan says the halach is like an anonymous Mishnah all the time. Usnanen, what does it say in the anonymous Mishnah? Habehema va'akelim kiragli habaylam. So that says in the Mishnah that it goes by the owner, not by the shepherd. So what's the obvious answer? We just said the answer a second ago. All Rabbi Yochanan is trying to say is that's how we pass it. That depends. If there's one shepherd, it's obvious where this animal is going. It goes by the shepherd's tchum. But if there's two individuals that it could go to, then it's not obvious anymore, and therefore it remains by the owner. I apologize in advance, but Be'ez Hashem will catch up today, Motzei Shabbos, and on Sunday we have a short daf. Have a wonderful day.